Hello, for the role of the teacher assignment, for the first questions, what are the three roles of the teacher? Describe each of them. How do you see yourself at this point in time? Um, Before I started reading doing the reading, I've obviously the role of a teacher. My first thoughts were to be um, a resource, a support, um, a helping hand. Sorry, a mentor and a learner. Um, Obviously, I think every teacher needs to have most of that to in order to help students be successful in the classroom and to have a successful classroom. Um, but according to the reading, the three roles of a teacher that they talked about from a historical perspective, where a teachers as passive technicians, teachers as reflective practitioners, and then teachers as transformative intellectuals. Those were the three that they talked about, and some of the points for each of them. For the first one, teachers as passive technicians, the primary focus of teaching and teachers education is content knowledge that consisted mostly of a verified and verifiable set of facts and clearly articulated rules. Basically, it's broken into small pieces or easily manageable discrete items. Sorry, which it was called the teacher-proof packages. That's what the reading talked about. It says how passive technicians who learn a battery of content knowledge generally agree upon in the field and pass it on to the successive generations of students. The way I think I look at it on this point is kind of like be a role model. I want students to look up to me. I want them to learn and be successful, and then I want them to pass it on to the next generation. So I want to pass it on to them. I want them to pass it on to someone else in the future. And then the primary goal of this, the first role is of such an activity of course, is to promote students' comprehension of content knowledge. It really talked about a lot of the content knowledge in this first article for the first role. And then viewing teachers as a passive technician is traditional. Technicians view provides a safe and secure environment for those who may not have the ability, the resources, or the willingness to explore self-initiated innovative teaching strategies. Obviously, as a teachers, we want students to feel safe. We want them to be excited. We want them to be like, oh, I want to go to a classroom. We want them to feel safe in our classroom. Obviously, make it safe for the students and for yourself too as a teacher. For the role number 2, teachers as reflective practitioners, their role is to be a facilitator. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Originally was proposed by the educational philosopher John Dewey, I think it was, in the early 20th century. Teachers are seen not as a passive transmitter of received knowledge, but as a problem solver processing. That was one of their points. They had five of them, and they talked about the cause and effect thinking, derivative exploratory principles, to do task analysis, to look forward, to do anticipatory planning. Those were some of the stuff that they talked about. Reflecting teaching, then it's a holistic approach that emphasizes creativity, articulity, and context sensitivity. Obviously, with creativity, is like the way I think about it too. Is like be creative. Don't teach the same way or give instruction the same way. Maybe sing one time for the instructions or the goal for that day, or maybe play a video or do something. It's not the same thing. I think that's what it was trying to say. That's the way I took it. I don't know. Hopefully I'm not wrong, but it also talk about 2 interlocking frames of reflections. it was called reflection on action and reflection in action. Further reflection on action can occur before or after a lesson, as teachers plan for a lesson and then evaluate the effectiveness of their teaching acts afterwards. Obviously, when you see what mistakes you made and you don't want to make them later on. Further reflection in action occurs during teaching acts when teachers monitor their ongoing performance, attempting to locate unexpected problems on the spot and then adjusting their teaching intentionally. I think that can be, for me, I think it might be a little bit hard, because if I try to make that correct that mistake, I think I would make more mistakes. But that's just my personal opinion. And then it talked about the roles of reflective practitioner, the role of the teacher as a reflective practitioner, basically examines frames and attempts to solve the dilemma of classroom practices, is aware of and questions assumptions and values he or she brings to teaching, is attentive to the institutional and cultural context in which he or she teaches, takes part in curriculum development, and is involved in school change effort, takes responsibility for his or her own personal development. Obviously, if you make a mistake, you can't blame others. But that's how everybody learns from their mistakes, I think. But it also talked about how it has three, the reflective movement has three, or reflective teaching has three different, three serious shortcomings. Processing involving the teacher and a host of others, learners, colleges, not as an interactive processor involving the teachers and a host of others. Focus on what the teachers do in the classroom and has not paid adequate attention to the socio-political factors that shaped and reshape a teacher's reflective practice. Excessive reliance on established professional wisdom movement contributed very little to change it. Obviously, if you don't change it, you're not gonna improve your ways of teaching. And the last one is teachers as transformative intellectuals. Basically, it talked about how it developed counter hegemonic pedagogies that, sorry, I mispronounced that not only empower students by giving them the knowledge and social skills they will need to be able to function in a larger society as political agent, but also educate them for transformative action. That was one of the quotes I got from the book. He also said that teachers need to be required to be socio-political conscious for the transformative intellectual. They achieve educational advancement in specified context and to construct curriculum and syllaba around their own and their students' need, wants, and situations. Obviously, we need to know what the student needs, wants, and what situation. Later on, I'm going to talk about how we need to listen to students, and we don't know every situation students are going through. That last video for the fourth question, it kind of covers a little bit about that, so I kind of want to talk about that later on. They also talk about the 10 transformative teachers do, and obviously I'm not going to go all over those, but I'm going to just talk about I just want to talk about three of them. The inquiry orientated, basically it talks about the teachers cultivate and extend research skills that help them and their students to explore problems they themselves have posed about life in and outside in the classroom. Committed to action. Teachers come to see thinking as a first step to action and continually design plan of action to carry out their critical thoughts. And then the last one, steep in a sensitivity by pluralism. Familiarize themselves with the linguistic and cultural diversity of their population, conceptualize multiple perspectives on issues that matter to them and to their students. So that's the some of the points that I got for each of the three roles of a teacher in this reading. All three roles have evolved over time, overlapping characteristics. To answer the question, how do you see yourself at this point in time? Honestly, I think when I was looking at it, right now I'm in the passive technician. I want my students to have a safe environment when they come to my classroom. I want to make for myself. I want them to be happy. I want them to be excited. They want to come to my classroom. I'm gonna greet them at the door. Teaching strategies. I want to be as a Spanish teacher. I want to teach like authentic Spanish. I don't want it to be book Spanish. Obviously, I'm going to follow the school curriculum and I'm going to go based on the book sometimes, but I want more to be like hands-on, real world situations, like ordering at a restaurant, for an example. We could maybe take a field trip there for my future Spanish class and put our Spanish to practice. I want to be do that, and I also want students to look up to me. I want to be a role model. Like I said, I just want a helping hand, supporter, a resource whenever. Like I just want to be. That's the kind of teacher I want to be. So I think I would see myself as a passive technician, but that hopefully doesn't change. According to the other two, I want to be the first one. That's the role I want to do. For question number 2, what are the key takeaways for the video reflecting on teaching after 20 years? I like how she started talking about her first year and now. I always think about how my first year is gonna go. I get nervous about it, and I have asked some people that are already teachers how their first year was, and everybody, mostly like 95% of the time, they tell me that it's the toughest year. It's really hard, obviously, because we're learning as a first year teacher. People learn from their mistakes, like she said. She also said that some things have not changed. I think that's true. I don't think I'm gonna learn from my mistakes, so I'm gonna make changes, but I don't know if everything's gonna change. She said, I really like how she said belief and questions are more powerful than answers. I also like how she talked about like how the first move should be connecting to another human being. We have to connect to our students. We have to do our best to be there for our students. And then it also talks about it is not what we proved on the paper, it is the question that we asked along the way. The pathway to learning. Are they learning? What am I doing wrong for them to do better in school or in my class? Sorry. We have to build a road, I think, or a bridge for our students' goals so they can be successful in the future. I always thought about the same thing, how she talked about wanting them to like me. I always worry and think about it. I'm like, is every student gonna like me? I think there's gonna be students that won't like me, but I think there's gonna be students that's gonna be like that. So the main thing is from that video that I took is we want kids to respect. We want kids to respect me more than they like me, because once they respect you, they're gonna start liking you over time. That's one of the key points that I got from that video, and that's on point, I think. Also, like I said, I want students to. Another thing I noticed on her video was that she was greeting students when they were coming in. She was smiling. She was walking around the classroom when she was giving instruction. Those are 2 things that I already plan on doing in my future class. So those some of the takeaways I took from the short video.